Okay. Okay, so I'm Jamie Prest with Lumen, and we do a lot in the way of helping our customers manage their assets. So in terms of, tracking things like downtime, scheduling work orders, all that sort of stuff you can do within Lumen. So I'll give you a little demo of that today. A couple quick things about Lumen, though, that I wanted to share. The first one being that we are proud to say that over 1 million assets are being managed worldwide within Lumen. And we've got over 40,000 active users, logging into the system. We have a pre-built, established Business Central integration in place already, and really we can be your tool for out-of-the-box predictive maintenance. So with that, I'm just going to jump over to Lumen here. So where I'm going to start is where most of our users begin their day within Lumen, which is our homepage dashboards. So here, I've got a number of things here. Across the top, I've got some KPIs where I can track things like down assets, open work orders, really anything that I need to see to be able to do my job. Here I'm logged in as a supervisor. So, I've got, probably full visibility into, my plant or facility. So I can really track those things. And if you're like me and you want to know exactly like where you should focus your attention for the day, we've added some logic behind some of these KPIs here. So if you notice this one here, I've got this red 7. So overdue work orders. I've said that if my overdue work orders exceeds 2, I'd like that to be highlighted in red here to kind of really draw my attention to that, so I know where to focus for the day. Down below here, I've got a number of grids. These are a little more detail driven, and they've got all sorts of information. I can see things like work requests that are awaiting approval, things that are unassigned over here. I can track my assets that are currently down, or just, work orders that might be completed, but just awaiting approval over here as well. The great thing about your dashboards is these are fully customizable. So you can make this work for, somebody like a supervisor, a technician, really anybody that you want, and you can customize the information that you're seeing here as well. And you might also notice I can actually do work right here from my dashboard. I can do things like view these, approve them, complete them, enter labor time, all that sort of stuff right here without ever having to leave my dashboard. Really quickly, I'll just show you as well another version of our application here. So this is on my tablet here. And this is a dashboard really geared toward a technician. So instead of seeing all the different KPIs and things, typically a technician has one question, and that's what work do I need to do today? So here they've got a really helpful list of all their work orders that they can see. And similar to the supervisor, they can jump in, they can, enter time, they can, do condition assessments, take pictures, add photos, notes, things like that, all from their tablet. And this is fully supported offline as well. We've got apps available in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. So, if cell service and Wi-Fi are a trouble, we've got that covered as well. So jumping back over here, I will go to where probably, the heart and soul of Lumen, which is going to be assets. So if I jump in here and we'll just take a look, we make it really easy for you to organize your assets within Lumen. And what I mean by that is if you're multi-plant, if you are, single plant, whatever it is, we make it so that you can organize and set up your assets in a way that makes sense to your real world layout. And so here I've got, a number of different plants. If I dig in a little bit, I can see things like different departments. I can dig into a department here, and I might be able to see things like, production lines all the way down to the asset level. And I can also see right here, anything with a little red wrench is going to indicate that I've got an open work order for that currently. And one of my favorite things here is our facility view. So This lets you track the health of your assets in real time. So you might notice a couple different colors here. I've got green, that's going to indicate that an asset is up and running. I've got orange, that's going to tell me that I've got an open work order for that, a repair work order for that particular asset. Purple is going to let me know that I've got scheduled upcoming maintenance for these assets. And then red is going to indicate that I've got an asset that's down right now. So this one is currently, not operating. I can dig right in from there. I can see what those open work orders are, and I can even bump out and see a ton of information about this specific asset as well. So, at the asset level, we give you the ability to track things like manufacturer information, warranty information, all the way down to adding things like, different pictures and, manuals. So I've got pictures of this pump. I've got, certifications here, lockout, tag out. We let you attach all that kind of stuff, and that'll stick with this asset. We track things like, like I said, your downtime, utilization on this particular asset. And one of my favorite things that we do is we've got some condition-based monitoring as well. So LLumin can speak directly to your assets via SCADA input or IoT sensors, whatever that might be. We integrate with those as well. And we can, track a number of different tags at the asset level. So in this case, I've set up a couple for this particular pump. And I've said, in this case, let's look at temperature and vibration. So if we dig into this one, I can see that I have said if my temperature is reading at higher than 150 degrees and our vibration is reading at a rate of more than 20, that might be a cause for alarm for this particular pump. So what I want to do in this case is I want to notify a group of technicians. So I've got a group of 5 technicians that'll get an email if those specific conditions are met. And if those technicians don't respond or take action on that within 2 hours, we've said, okay, now I want to notify a group of 3 supervisors via text message to let them know, hey, we might have a larger problem here. Somebody should really take a look at this. From there, we've said that, if the temperature and vibration are running high like that, that typically could be an indication that your bearings need to be replaced on this pump. So we've attached a procedure here to say, let's go through and, these are the steps to replace the bearings on that. And we could do that with, a number of different things. But ultimately, what this will do is it will automatically create a work order for the technicians to handle, based on those conditions that we're looking at. Once those work orders are created, we've got a great tool here to help you schedule those out. So we've got a calendar here where I can see, all my different work orders that need to be scheduled. Over here, I've got things that are scheduled by different day here. I can filter this by personnel or by craft as well. So maintenance technicians, electricians, whatever it is, to kind of see, how much labor I have on any given day here. I can break this down, monthly, weekly. I can look at a work week here if we don't operate on the weekends, or even if I want to look at just a single day here, I could kind of come through and pick whatever day and just look at the work for that specific day. Another thing with LLumin here that we do and a lot of our customers use is inventory management. So you can manage all of your spare parts inventory as well as any consumable spares. We've got customers that use us to track things like paper towels, toilet paper, safety glasses, anything that you need to keep your plant up and running. You can track that inventory here as well. And we'll dig into one item here really quickly, and I'll just kind of show you a little bit about it. So first thing, kind of right in your face here, is it's going to tell you how many you have on hand at any of your plants, or if you're a single plant, this can tell you how many you have on hand in various places throughout your facility. So maybe you've got different tool cribs or rooms or stock rooms. You can kind of track this however however it makes sense. So I can see here, in my Springfield plant, I've got 35 of this on hand currently. We also help you with some reordering information. So, like I said, in Springfield, I've got 35 on hand. I've said when I get down to four that it should be time to reorder this, and I want to reorder in quantities of eight to get me up to my max quantity here of 12. So, as your technicians are, using this particular belt on assets for, whatever it might be for, repair work orders, PMs, things like that, your inventory will get depleted. So if it's through, through a work order or someone reserving a part, your inventory will drop down. Once it hits that reorder point here, we're going to add that to our reorder list. So just really quickly here, I'll jump over and show you our reorder list. So our reorder list is going to be any of those items that have kind of hit that threshold where we've said, hey, you might need to order some of these, to get you back up to that stock. One of my favorite things about this is I can select an item here, and then I can go in and I can select that by vendor here. And I'm going to unselect this one because it's for a different plant. But then what I can do is I can add all of these items for this particular vendor right to a purchase order, create that right on the fly, and email that out, whatever I need to do to get that stuff, in my facility as fast as possible. So, ultimately, if you're managing your inventory, the goal here is to make sure that you are never without the stuff that you need when you need it. So, that's a big piece of managing your inventory in LLumin. And try to be real quick here. The last thing I will show you is I'll talk a little bit about the integration with Business Central. So let me just pull up this slide real quick. So we do a couple things with that integration. So this, like I said, is already established, and we do a couple different things. So in Business Central, anytime a vendor is created and classified as a vendor that needs to go to the CMMS, that's going to get exported over to LLumin. So those will come over. That happens with changes too. So if a vendor gets updated, something in their changes, if they are marked as a CMMS vendor, that will come over to LLumin. In LLumin, anytime a new purchase order is created or one is changes are made to it, we are going to send that information. We're going to push that over to Business Central. So that info is going to have things like the vendor information, your item information, what GL account it should go to, quantities, prices, things like that. And then the last thing here is going to be receipts. So once that you get that delivery into your warehouse, your facility, and you receive that in LLumin, we're going to send all of that line item detail back to Business Central. So, when it was received, how much, all of that good stuff is going to kind of come over. And then kind of the last step with that is if you go in and mark that that purchase order is invoiced in LLumin, we send that information back over to Business Central as well. So, I know that was really, really quick and, kind of a lot there, but I hope I showed you a good, a bit about what you can do in LLumin. If anybody's interested in seeing more, feel free to reach out to us. We love doing demos like these. And yeah, again, Amy, thank you very much for allowing us to show it.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's so great.